Morning, good morning. This is Rich Wallace this morning. We are here at an episode of Strictly Business Live. We broadcast 3 days a week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning at 7 a.m. You can get our past broadcasts from our YouTube channel at Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce. You can tune into that and be able to find out what we've been talking about here on Strictly Business. My name is Rich Wallace, and I am your host this morning for Strictly Business. We are a talk show that talks about business. This is Friday morning, February the 23rd, Black History Month, on its way out to Women's Month, celebrating Black businesses, Black celebration, and other things that Black community has been able to perform and do. Once again, my name is Rich Wallace, and I want to welcome you to an episode of Strictly Business. We're a talk show that's on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday mornings at 7 a.m. So we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back to talk about business and business connections. How do you connect your business with the next business and not necessarily worry about the competition in your lane? Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we will be right back.
One of the secrets to exposure for your business lies within supporting Black businesses and entrepreneurs. And that is why the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce is here, to connect Black businesses from the desert to the sea. Let's join hands to empower and sustain our community. By becoming a member of the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce, you can grow your business and increase your clientele. With our innovation, we'll generate new businesses and get new customers. And we'll connect new mindsets with businesses from across Southern California to help bridge the wealth gap. Let's connect, build, and grow together. Join us now at blackchamberofcommerce.org.
If you're not a member of one of the local Black Chambers of Commerce in your area, I suggest that you take a look around and see if you can connect the dots with those people. We are here this morning and we're talking about time management today. How do you manage your time? How can you get everything on your list done in the day and the time that you have set aside for it? First of all, do you have a list? Have you created a list of priority things that need to be done today? And some things can wait till tomorrow, and some things can wait till next month. So, have you prioritized what needs to go and what needs to go next? That is the best thing that you can do for your business, is to be able to plan ahead, know what's going on, know how to adjust your time, and know how to get your entire thing done in that day. So if you are now planning your day, especially for those that work from home, if you work from home, it's tough to work from home if someone else is at home while you're working. So you have to learn to close that door and not open that door till break time, not open that door till lunchtime. Good friend of mine that just passed away recently he worked from home for the last 20 years that I can remember. And at 12 o'clock, he took his lunch. He took a lunch break at noon, and at 1 o'clock, he went back to work consistently every day. And I used to go by at noon because I knew he was having lunch and I could have that extra sandwich and those French fries that he was making. So I missed that a lot with my friend, but that was his thing, is that he worked from home and he worked. He'd be sure he didn't load of clothes in the laundry and these kinds of things. So everything that went great. We have our guest coming in today. We have a guest on our show today, Strictly Business. You can always catch us on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday mornings at 7 a.m. California time. So if you're in a different state, and we had a lady yesterday on out of Texas, wonderful conversation. You can find that conversation on our YouTube channel to check us out, or you can go to our website at edgetvnetwork.net and be able to see some of the things that we have coming up. We got some great comedy shows and some other things coming up. We have, if you notice that behind me, we have golf. We have coming up on Juneteenth, our celebrity golf tournament will be at the Pasadena Rose Bowl, which is Brookside's Country Club out in the Pasadena, California area. So if you're a golfer, come on out and play golf with her. If you're not a golfer, I tell people this is the best tournament to play in. There's some training going on and there's some fun going on, and we're outside, and we haven't been outside in a while. So people are going to love to be out there. So let me take a quick break, and I'm going to come back with our guest, Mr. Shante, and he's going to talk to us about his nonprofit and what they do to have some things going on. So I'm going to take a short break here, and then we'll be right back.
Are you ready to change your life? Let us help you. At Youth Build Charter School, you can get a high school diploma and kickstart your dream career in no time. We offer high school diploma programs in construction, CNA, military, college, and entrepreneurship. If you are between the age of 16 and 24 and you want to manage your studies with a job, recover your credits, or graduate early, we can help you achieve your dream. Call us at 1-888-395-4408 or visit youthbuildinlandempire.org.
Youth Build Inland Empire is the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce Youth Power Community Solutions. I know I said a mouthful and all of that. It's our educational platform. So if you need to get a high school diploma, or you're looking to be educated in construction, theater production, TV, music, check us out. Give us a call over at Youth Build. We have some great programs and some great things that can help you get yourself to the next level, or be able to maintain at the level that you're on. I'm going to bring on our guest now, Mr. Shante Earl, and he's going to talk about his nonprofit and some of the things that they're doing to help out here in the educational platform. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Shante Earl. How you doing this morning, sir?
Man, good morning, Mr. Wallace. I am doing splendid, man. I'm doing splendid. It's a wonderful, wonderful day. Great opportunity to be on Strictly Business. And I appreciate you inviting me to share this morning, sir.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what you do? Tell us about your nonprofit and how that works.
Yes, certainly. Our company, my wife and I, we started this organization called Lifting Dreams Community Development. And this organization is based out of San Bernardino. And our goal is trifold. We have three different pillars. It's to learn, earn, and return. And one of our core programs that we are currently teaching is called FLIP, Financial Literacy Independent Program. And, you know, I grew up in the inner city of San Bernardino. Financial literacy was not spoken in my neighborhood or even at the kitchen table. And I realized over the years that, you know, the school system has literally shortchanged our youth by not teaching them the fundamentals of credit, banking, and just the other things that's crucial to living once they graduate high school.
When you talk about financial literacy, I hear a lot of talk about that. I hear banks coming in. We want to come in and teach financial literacy. We want to do this. And a lot of the people that don't necessarily work in the financial literacy arena go, I know how much money I got coming in. I know how many bills I got to pay. I don't have enough money for the whole month. So how is this financial literacy really going to help me? I make $2,000 a month. I got $1,900 a month in bills and $100 left over for grocery. Do I need a class on trying to figure that out? I mean, what is that, you know?
You know, that's true. You know, a lot of people are living hand to mouth right now with the economy being in such a tight state. Inflation is high, money is short. You got more month than you got money. And at the end of the day, you know, it's our responsibility to at least think about some ways on how to save and make that dollar stretch. And how do you go about that? Budgeting is real important, because without a budget, then you'll find yourself, you know, overspending. Maybe you need that extra dollar, that extra $5 to actually stretch a bill out, you know. So those little nuggets can actually be beneficial over the long haul. And again, it's not something that's going to be, you know, solved in one class. This is an ongoing habit or pattern that you have to develop. Even myself, you know, I've had some roller coaster rides in the financial industry. And because of that, you know, I learned some things, how to do right and I still am bumping my head on numerous occasions. So this is a consistent effort.
Mr. Earl, you mentioned budget. And I use the number $2,000, $1,900 with the bills and that kind of thing. So with a budget, because having a budget or a list of even items that you're going to purchase at the grocery store, because when you get to the counter, there's some yams and some M&Ms and some magazines right there at the counter. They're not on my list, but I really want those M&Ms, and they're only $1.99. So they $2 for some M&Ms. So I'm gonna grab these M&Ms, and does that throw my budget off? Because if I spent $2 over here and I spent $2 over there, and I stopped and got me some gas, and gas out here in the Southern California region is close to $5 a gallon. And when I went in there, I bought me 2 lottery tickets. So I'm $4 out of my budget, and the day is Monday. And if I do that every day, is that what throws most people off? Is they don't count the little change that they spend?
Yeah, exactly. And every dollar counts right now in this economy. I mean, if you find yourself eating out every day, for example, let's say you're taking your lunch and you are consistently spending $10 a day on lunch, that can add up very quickly. Just look at gas prices today. Over a course of a month, you could find yourself spending $500, $600, $700, $800 just on gas. And some of us have these Starbucks habits where we, instead of us going to, our counter and making coffee, we'll go to Starbucks and spend $6 a day. So just be mindful that every dollar counts, especially in this current economy. We could possibly be using it for other things. And one program that we teach in our course is called Need versus Wants. And a lot of times we go after what we want and we sacrifice the things that we need. So when we're talking to the youth, we use different scenarios like the typical cell phone. We all have a phone. Some of us have the most expensive phones that money can buy. Others have the Obama phone, and that's okay. It still does the same job. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm talking to these youth, I give them a scenario and I ask them, I said, okay, everybody pull out your phone. And each one of them have a different phone, like I just stated. And then I ask, well, okay, how much did that phone cost? And one might say $900. And then the other one might say, oh, this is a free phone. And then I say, well, let's compare the features and the benefits on these phones. And as you already know, the features and the benefits most likely are the exact same. And again, it just brings that realization. And really what we're doing is we're just planting seeds, and just to give people and our young people, just to get them thinking about, well, do I really need these brand new shoes, or do I need this new phone? And then maybe over time, as they start to earn income from their employment, from their entrepreneurship endeavors, maybe they'll be in much better situation than their parents. Because a lot of times, as parents, we're working 2-3 jobs just trying to make ends meet.
Well, when you mentioned needs versus wants, so as a young person or an older person, so you should have a needs list and a wants list.
Yes, sir.
I don't need to go to the movies, but I want to go. So when when you talk about needs and wants, and everybody has a TV set, I imagine. So now cable and internet TV and all of these different things, you spend $125 a month on your internet TV, all of these technology things that's supposed to make your life easier. Is there a way that you teach that these tools that these young people, old people, all people have today, can they turn that into a financial situation that they can benefit and make money from those? So you're teaching how to turn your cell phone into a cashier's check, or how to be able to discount the drives that you take. I know I have a grandson, and he Ubers. It's $15 here, $13 there, $14 there. Is there Instead of turning into a Uber, they become consumers. How do we, I don't want to say stop being consumers, because it's necessary to have consumers to keep the wheels turning. But how can we, our consumers, and that's what they say about minority, Black and brown people, is that we're more consumers than we are anything else.
Yeah,
So is there something that you do in that area that's able to turn people into, like you say, do we all need a Superman lunch kit today and make a sandwich before we leave home? Because there's nothing wrong with a Superman lunch kit if that's what we need to do.
facts. Yeah, yeah. You know what? You hit it right on the nose. And yeah, that again goes back to the core pillars. The learn, because once you learn certain skill sets, once you learn about your credit, once you learn about your housing, once you learn about budgeting, the needs and your wants, then you have to get involved in go into the earn category. How do you earn income? How do you make money? And like you said, why is it that we're all being on this consumer track instead of the track where we actually own? So we go into discussion about goals. What is it that you want to do with your life? Where is it that you see yourself in the next year, the next 3 years, the next 5 years? And then we talk about different pay scales based on education. Or if you decide to become an entrepreneur, what do you like to do and how can you take that and make money from? And just recently we had a exercise around that. And I asked the young people, I said, well, how can you earn money? And it's a great question. And then what we did is we wrote down several ways to earn money. One person said, I can go ahead and cut grass. I said, yeah, that's an awesome idea. Everybody has grass. You can buy you a lawnmower. You can start your own lawn care business. You can start with your friends and family. And he didn't think of that in the past. He was like, you know what? I can do that. Another young lady said, I can recycle. I could find recyclers and go and recycle cans. She was mentioning that one of her parents did that frequently. Say, yeah, you sure can. You can earn money that way. Another one said, I can babysit. I can, possibly get my relatives to let me watch their children and make some additional cash flow. I say, yes, you can. So, and what really came out of that exercise was the idea now that it is possible for them to earn money, and even those who are of age who can work, even decide to maybe go get a part-time job at the age that they're in, so that this way they can start putting some money into their account and then separating it through a bucket type of method, where a percentage would go towards their needs, a percentage would go towards their wants, a percentage would go towards their entertainment. And this way now they're at least mindful and have a strategy on how to get the things that they want.
So you're telling me no matter how tight my budget is, I can create a savings account?
You could create a savings account, and it's not necessarily how much money you make. It's really about how much money you keep, because a lot of us can make money, and a lot of us have made lots of money. But if we really are really truthful with ourselves, how much money did we actually keep? And most of the times we could look at our bank account, and most of us don't necessarily have 6 months put away for emergencies, because emergencies will happen to all of us. One of my mentors have told me in the past, he said that the storms of life, the winds of life blows on us all. The difference in us getting to our destination is not necessarily the blowing of the wind, but the setting of the sail. And what that tells me is that because there's going to be a storm in your life one day or another, you have to be mindful on making sure that you take care of those necessarily, put some money away, try to put a little bit away for those storms. Like, for example, Mr. Wallace, my transmission went out on my car. And I was like, oh my goodness, transmission? Are you kidding me? How much are they going to charge me to fix this transmission? And my thought was, okay, well, I have to get it fixed because I got to get to my locations when I have meetings or when I have other important things so I can make some money. So I've got to really make sure I get it fixed. But how am I going to get it fixed? Thank God I had a little bit put away to where I was able to get that transmission fixed for now. I can position myself so that I can make some more money for the next emergency that might pop up. But in some cases, some folks are not in that position and they can't do that. And now they have to come up with different means in order to survive.
You know, I was given a practice to open a savings account. How do you save money? I don't have any money. I need all the money I got, and I can't really do any kind of savings. So what I was told to do, and it worked for me, is I got a water bottle, not one of them big giant bottles, but one so sized, and I started putting my change in there every day, every other day, pennies, nickels, dimes, whatever change I had. And in less than a month or a month and a half, I had a nice jar of change.
Yes.
So I took that change and it came to $40, $50 or whatever it was, and put it in the bank. It was my change account. Put it into a separate account, savings account. And nowadays you can open up a savings account with a small amount of money and put it in there. And I just start putting my change in there every month, just putting my change. I didn't, if I broke a dollar bill, I start putting my change in there. And at the end of the year, we had close to about $600 or $700 in that savings account.
Nice.
So you have to figure out a way to be able, because every household is different.
Yes.
My light bill is different from your light bill. So, but we know we got a light bill. So we know that. So the utility companies remind you that you have a bill. And if you don't pay attention to them, they will let you know that you have one because you won't have another one and they'll cut you off. So you have to try to figure out a way to save, move forward, and do the things you need to do. When you were mentioning entrepreneurs, we got my telling me in the back, we got to take a short break.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs moving forward. And how do you be able to start a business if you have no money? We'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
Thank you, sir.
Good news for the Southern California business community. Now you can add your business to the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce Business Directory complimentary. We have been working tirelessly to build a list of Black-owned enterprises in Southern California. This is an excellent way for you to be a part of an expansive network and find your ideal customers, business partners, and vendors. So don't waste time. Visit blackchamberofcommerce.org today and add your business today.
Business owners are raving about the new talk show, Strictly Business, with host Rich Wallace. Tune in as the top experts in business share their success stories, strategies, guidance, and advice to help you grow your business. With guests from the top companies to your favorite influencers, Strictly Business with host Rich Wallace is the show to watch for all things business. Our conversations are strictly business. We discuss new funding options, new business initiatives, best business practices, all things business explained. We provide you with the tips you need for your business, all in one morning business talk show. Be sure to tune in. Are you a business owner? Do you have a story to share? Are you able to help our audience? Then we want you on Strictly Business with host Rich Wallace. Visit the website at edgetvnetwork.net and select Be a Guest to schedule your appearance today.
All right. So an entrepreneur, a person that says, I don't want to work for nobody, I want to work for myself. How do I get funding? And a lot of young people or people in general think that they can open up a business and go get a grant.
Right.
They believe that, okay, I can get some people to invest in my business. Who is going to invest in your dream? You started out, you went and you got your DBA, you're doing business as, you ran the ad, you are now Shantae Earl doing business as liftingthedream.org. Okay, all right, well, let's lift it. How do we lift this dream with limited financing, grants that are out there, and people don't understand, grants are Pacific. Everybody can't get a grant. And when you get a grant, you got to do what the grant says. So how am I going to be able to take my business, my idea, and plant it so it can grow? Where's the good ground shaking together, raising up? Can you tell us that?
Well, sir, let me tell you, as a entrepreneur and as someone who's been in this space for quite some time, it is not easy for business owners. We all know that as business owners, because funding is usually our biggest obstacle, being able to get the finances in order to accomplish the dream and the goal that we have. And one thing that I've discovered over the years is that as an entrepreneur, it's important that we have our paperwork in order. Um, when I was coming up early on, I was listening to wrong advice. I had people telling me, you want to write off everything you earn. You don't want to necessarily, if you have a tax deduction, take full advantage of all of them. And I get it, because Uncle Sam is going to get their fair share. And if they've given us the ability to have certain write-offs, we deserve to take them. But at the end of the day, if you can't show in a profit business that you are making some type of profit, the banks are very, they don't want to give you no money if you can't show no money. Let me just put it that way.
So what you're saying is, instead of me trying to show no assets or hide my assets, I need to put them out there on the table so that a lending institution can see that I own a copy machine. They can see that I own a telephone or whatever that case may be, because now I have some skin in the game, and that's how I get money.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was speaking to a real good friend of mine who had a similar situation, and she was explaining to me on how, even though at the end of the day, she had to pay more, and when it came to this season, to make sure that, she was able to be prepared for the next season. And in other words, sometimes you have to pay it in the beginning so that in the end you can reap the benefits for what it is you've been able to put out there. And in that mindset, that really sets you up for some sort of success in getting capital. And then your credit, as a business owner, it's important that we maintain a certain type of credit profile, so that this way, if you need to be a grantor on your corporation, then you're able to do that. You don't necessarily have to have someone else with great credit come in, even though partnerships are important at the same time as well. But maintaining your own proper credit profile is very important. And that's something that we talk about with the young people about credit, and just what that is, and what FICO scores are, and how to build credit and come up with different strategies on how to improve your credit if you have, had some issues in the past. And again, credit is important so that this way you can go after capital as well. And again, it isn't easy, but it is possible. It is possible. And as long as you are continuing to work on your business, and in your business, then you can actually have a successful journey. It's a process.
When you talk about credit and building credit and this and that, I look at these, I guess it's 3 or 4 credit agencies that rate you,
Yeah.
that rate your score. I'm not sure how that works, because for 5 years I've never been late on my mortgage. I pay my credit cards, I do this, I do that. But one day I was late on my mortgage, and oh man, I got to pay my mortgage. When I did pay it, 35 days late, whatever the case may be, credit score dropped like boom. It knocked me down, almost 100 points. And I got to thinking, wait a minute, how is it I made one error or one slip up, but for 5 years, I never, ever slipped up. I didn't get any high rating for that. but I got a low rating because I made one slip up. Do you know anything about these credit bureaus? Are they judged by people? Is there an agencies that monitors them? I mean,
Yes,
since they're
sir.
monitoring us, is there somebody that says, "Hey, you guys are not, understanding," because a lot of people don't understand how that works, and I'm one of them, and I'm over 70, so I don't understand how they can make those kinds of decisions based up on one error or two errors. So you do two errors, and you may not never get anything anymore. So how are we judging? Are we as a people? Can we judge the credit score companies?
Wouldn't that be nice if we could? But unfortunately, we have a certain, certain standards when it comes to these agencies. I had a background in the lending industry years ago, and being in that industry, I saw a lot of credit reports. And one thing I discovered with the credit reports, that TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, they have different ways of reading a person's credit. And it's true. Like you said, you've had one error and yet you were deemed for it. And now it takes a while just to get that score back up to a certain rate. And it's easy, it's hard to get good credit, but let me go back. It's easy to have good credit, but it's hard to, once an error happens, to get your credit back to good. It takes massive amount of time and some strategies in order to get it done. And yes, a mortgage is one of the biggest weights on anyone's credit report. It's a big weight. So one thing you don't want is to have a 30-day late on your mortgage if you can't. And if it does happen, there's ways to negotiate with your bank in order to see if there's any type of deferments, any type of programs that might be available. And it's not a point in time to where you put your head in the sand and don't communicate. Sometimes communication, and we all know, is really the key. If you let people know what's going on ahead of time, sometimes they might have a solution that might just be the solution you need to get you back in line. So mortgages.
So if I get one of those, if I put myself in the pool with the mortgage company, and go, "Oh, I need some help, and can you defer? Can you help me here?" Does that put me in a different pool now? I'm looked at, "Oh, he's going to be late again." He is
No,
whining
sir.
about his payment. Do they tell my other creditors, "Oh, you better watch him"? So how, being put into that deferment pool, or that, pay late every now and then pool, does that put me in a category, so to speak? So now I get ready to go get a car, and the mortgage company go, "Yeah, he's been making his payments, but he's short $20 every month."
He made them, but he barely made them, right?
He barely made them, and
Hey, you gotta watch him.
short.
You better watch him. He close. He right there on the cuff. He gonna get you. No. To answer that, no, I don't believe that is the case. Each person is looking at your credit report. So when you're looking at your credit report, just know that by one, making sure that you're keeping your payments on time. I mean, you got to make sure that you have no 30-day lates. Mortgage companies, they give you at least a 15-day, payment period before they'll even try to give you a late fee on that. But there's ways to get it back in line. So again, it's the communication aspects of it. And then the next thing when you're thinking about your credit, it's something that you have to keep in mind, that some folks don't have any credit. They feel that cash is king. I've talked to people. I was one of those individuals where I said, I don't want any credit. I'm just going to pay cash for everything. And unfortunately, if you don't have any type of history on your credit report where someone can look at and say, "Hey, you know what? This person has a credit card. This person is paying a cell phone bill. This person has an automobile payment and they are paying it consistently and they haven't missed any payments over the last 6 months to a year." Okay, we have a history. And if you don't have that, then then you're a ghost. When I say a ghost, that means there's nothing to judge you off of because you chose not to have any history. So now you're like a little baby just beginning to walk again. And how can I trust that you won't fall if I've never seen you walk? So you have to be mindful of that. If you are individuals who say, I don't want credit, you have to at least begin the process of building some.
Okay, now you mentioned you were in the mortgage business as well.
I will.
So I want to buy a house.
Okay.
I've been saving my money. I don't necessarily trust the banks. I got a piggy bank at home. I've saved $30,000 and I'm ready. But I have no credit history because I have saved my money. I didn't use my MasterCard, my Visa, you know. I have an ATM card, you know, and I use that because it allows me to do some things with the logo as long as I got money in the bank or however that works. Can I buy a house now with a down payment or a down payment program, but my credit history is clean? I don't have no bad debt. I don't have no good debt. I don't have no debt.
Right. Right.
Is that from the mortgage industry? Can I now buy me a house because I have
You
no
can.
debt?
Yeah, you can buy a house. Because buying a house, there's strategies in buying a house. You know, I'm sure all of us have heard that, you know, you can buy a home with no money down. In the past, there used to be those gurus sitting on television, and every night about 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, they used to come on. My name is Tran. This is my boat. This is my home. And you can buy a home and live just like me with no money out of pocket. Everybody has seen those commercials, right? Well, I one day listened to one of those commercials and I ordered a kit, and it was from a gentleman, Carlton Sheets. I don't know if you remember him. He had a program called No Money Down. So I bought this kit, went through the whole process of looking through this kit and really dissecting it and trying to figure out. At that time, I had terrible credit, and I was just on my way up trying to figure it out. And I decided to use a strategy in that kit by doing what's called a lease with an option to buy. Many of you may have heard of that. That's where you go in and talk to the owner and let them know, hey, I want to purchase your property. I want to lease it with an option. And sometimes, you know, they say, well, what's the benefit to the owner? What's the benefit to the person that's looking to do the lease? Well, the thing about the owner, well, usually you're able to give them a much bigger down payment to get into the property. The owner looks at it as someone that's owning, in a sense, mentally, and they'll probably take better care of the property. And if the person decides not to exercise the lease to purchase, then they lose their whole entire deposit because it was portion of the agreement. And the person doing the exercise that's actually on the other end may look at it as another benefit because now they're actually have some equity in the property that they are looking to buy. Gives them
It's old school. They don't do that. Do they still do that? I mean,
yeah, you know what they do? They do that. And yeah, it is old school, but there are all opportunities out there. People were still going into those lease with the options to buy. Right now in California, obviously, and around the United States, prices are on the increase. And yeah, inventory is low and a lot is happening, but everybody has different real estate cycles and pockets. So it may not necessarily be California because it may not fit, but it may. You never know. You may have a relative. You may have a good friend. You just don't know until you ask. You don't know what that person's situation is. And to answer your question specifically, with no credit history and yet you want to buy, well, then there are strategies for that as well. Obviously, if you have a down payment, that helps. That helps. If it's 20% down, then that's even better. The more the percentage and the less that the bank has to come to the table with, the better it's going to look for you. Another way, since you may not have the best of credit, is now you can start to build your credit. if you know that you're looking to buy. Maybe you go to your local bank and get a secured credit card. Go ahead and put $500 in the bank, and they'll give you a credit card, and they'll report on that every month. And now that shows a positive trade line on your credit report. Maybe you want to get some type of installment loan. So, you may want to go into a small installment loan where you might have a $500 installment loan, and they'll go ahead and report now that you have an actual loan on your credit report. So now that's 2 trade lines right there. Then maybe you may have a family member who has great credit, who's never been late, and yet they've had it for 5 or 6 years, and ask the family member, hey, can I be an authorized user on that account? I don't want a card. I just want your history. And guess what? You may have some people who say yes to that. And now you've given all the history that they worked on have now transferred to your credit report. So now you've got these 3 positive trade lines on your credit report. So now you are establishing that you're not a ghost. You are building your FICO scores up, and then over time you'll be 700 plus FICOs, and they're like, "Whoa, what do
So,
you
Mr.
want?
Earl, now, is it
need?"
easier to buy commercial real estate as opposed to residential? I want to buy a house, but I can't, so I'm gonna go buy a building. Is that the same process? Is it easier to get a piece of commercial property? Are they more user friendly than residential? I don't know.
Well, I'm not a professional when it comes to commercial aspects of it. I've delved in it in the past a little bit, but it's not in my toolbox of all the info around the commercial spot. One thing I did learn though about commercial, the property is a big portion of the income that usually comes from the property, so that it can actually be financed, and you can justify, hey, if I'm getting, if I've got a 10 unit or 20 unit apartment complex, and each one of those units is paying me $1,000 a month. So now I've got $10,000 cash coming in, but I only am putting out $5,000. So now I have a $5,000 positive net on this property that goes towards income. So now when they're looking at your debt to ratio income, and if that income can show that mortgage can be paid, well, then yes, it's positive for an individual to go into that type of a transaction, because it shows that, hey, the property can actually sustain the loan.
So what I'm hearing from you, Mr. Earl, is that it might be, as a young person getting started, instead of me trying to buy, this is Southern California, we only have a few pieces of property under 500,000. Most everything is over 400. If you can find a 399 somewhere, it's in Bakersfield or someplace, or Barstow. Nothing wrong with Bakersfield or Barstow. So if
There's
you're
nothing
listening from
wrong with
there,
it.
I'm not putting your town down, but it may be, you're saying that it may be a better investment as a young or entrepreneur or someone that's looking to invest their money or to buy property, to buy commercial property. Is that a better thing for me to do, to build my credit or to invest? I don't know.
Well, again, you got to go back to the needs versus the wants. You got to ask yourself, well, what do you need? Most people, they need to have a roof over their head. I mean, that's a need. You need to have
Can I move into the commercial property? Can I buy commercial property? And I see these people living in warehouses on TV sometimes. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool, So can I buy me a warehouse and move in it? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either. But one thing I do know is that if you decide to buy a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex, then you fall into the FHA, the residential property category. Anything over 4 is now you're dealing in the commercial aspects of real estate. So let's say a young person decides to buy a property, and yet they don't need much space. Maybe they might need only a 2-bedroom, maybe even a 1-bedroom. Well, it's a great idea to consider buying a duplex, because now you can rent one unit and live in the other. and now you have someone assisting you in paying that mortgage. Or you can buy 4 units, and imagine that, having 3 of those units rented and you living in one. So now you literally have someone paying for your livelihood. They are paying your mortgage payment. Not only
the qualifications the same.
The qualifications are the same, because again, it's considered a conforming loan, and therefore the qualifications are the same. It's conventional financing, anything from 1 to 4 units. So that means that you don't necessarily have to come up with a hefty down payment. When you're dealing with commercial, they sometimes ask for 30% down. So that's a much bigger down payment. When you're in the conforming conventional loans, then you may only have to come up with 3 or even 5% down. So what does that mean? Well, 1, less money out of your pocket, which is always important. And you usually qualify for a much better interest rate because of that particular lender. Now, when commercial, you're going to obviously most likely pay a much higher interest rate, and you're going to have to come up with a lot more money. So
really, the interest rate's different from residential than it is from commercial.
Yes,
Interest rates. Okay,
definitely.
Because interest rates are high now, even on credit cards. That's what's stumbling a lot of young people, is that if you got I don't want to put the credit card people on blast, but if you got a Discover or a Visa or Master or Bank of America or Wells Fargo or whatever that may be, the interest rates are extremely high on those things right now.
Yeah, rates are high, but compared to what, right? Everything is really relevant compared to what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and how long you're going to need the money for, obviously, because there's always ways to refinance later on when rates do adjust. So it depends on what you're trying to do. In other words, let's say you found a great opportunity and a property that you were looking to buy as an investment, and you decided to say, hey, you know what, if I pay $500,000 for this property, but I'm looking at the comps and the house is worth, $800,000, and I only have to put $100,000 into it, which means now I'm only $600,000, but yet I get $200,000 worth of equity once it's done. Well, how long do you need that money for? So if you know that the possibility that you can walk away with $200,000 worth of equity, what type of interest rate would you pay?
So now when you talk about equity and this and that, you talk as if I know what that is.
I'm sorry. And that is true. That is true. There is a course that I teach, and it's basically, this course itself is based on real estate principles. It's all about the aspects of looking at real estate in a way to where you could break it down in a way so people can understand. For example, with real estate, there are investment properties that you can buy. And as you buy an investment, you could either look for it as a cash flow. In other words, you're gonna get cash coming from the property. You know what I'm saying? In other words, you'll rent it out, and whatever they're paying on their mortgage, the difference of that is cash flow. Okay, so you're going to make money off your property if it's a rental property. Now, it doesn't always happen that way, but with rents as high as they are now, a lot of people are now paying a lower mortgage than what they're receiving in rent. So the difference from that payment is cash back into that person's pocket. Are you tracking me on that?
Okay, now, I'm here. You're telling me I got a piece of rental property, and my mortgage payment is $1,500, and I got it rented out for $2,000. So I'm making $500 a month. Am I taxed on that $500? Is that income? Because I got to go fix the sink. I gotta fix the toilet.
You got to talk to your tax person on that. You got
taxes.
You got to make sure you deal with your accountant on that one.
Okay, so if I'm dealing with my accountant on that, is there a tax program now coming out of the pandemic that people can benefit from if they have done some things or have suffered from the pandemic? Or
You
should
know,
I?
you,
Are you a tax? I'm gonna leave you because I see you getting ready to jump on it. So I'm gonna take a quick break and then I'm gonna give you a minute to think about that, and I'll be right back.
Are you ready to change your life? Let us help you. At Youth Build Charter School, you can get a high school diploma and kickstart your dream career in no time. We offer high school diploma programs in construction, CNA, military, college, and entrepreneurship. If you are between the age of 16 and 24 and you want to manage your studies with a job, recover your credits, or graduate early, we can help you achieve your dream. Call us at 1-888-395-4408 or visit youthbuildinlandempire.org.
Okay, now you said you wasn't a tax person. I don't want to get the IRS on you, but I was asking, is there something that you know about that people can benefit from tax wise?
Okay. Hey, sir, I am honored to be on this show with you today. And for those of you who are watching, as you can see, Mr. Wallace has a lot of different things on his mind. Now, I am grateful to be able to answer as much as I can to help you guys out. But I wanted to go back just a little bit, sir, because I don't want to leave the people out there hanging, especially when it comes to this real estate thing. If you look at real estate, look at it as a form of ideal. And it does talk, it's a little bit in the tax vein that you're looking at. Ideal. Look at the word ideal. IDEAL. Real estate is ideal. Why? Because you have income. That's the I, income. Remember, you can turn it into a rental. Depreciation. That's the D. You can depreciate real estate because unfortunately, the value does go up and it goes down. So you have a depreciation factor. The E is equity. You build equity in your real estate. In other words, you may pay $300,000 today, but yet the property is valued at $500,000, which means the difference is the equity in the property. Asset. It's an asset. In other words, that asset you can take a loan out on and you can leverage that asset. And then the L in ideal is leverage. Leverage is where you're able to get a loan on your property and then continue to cipher income equity out of the property, transfer it on to maybe another investment, maybe help your kids with college, maybe pay off debt. There's all types of things that can be done in that ideal real estate scenario. So I hope that helps someone. If you look at it that way, it'll give you some encouragement on how to actually go about and what you are planning to do when it comes to buying real estate. As you already know, Mr. Wallace, I am an entrepreneur. I've been in the industry for quite some time. I'm also a real estate professional, as you know. I am still licensed as a realtor, and I help people buy and sell property. So if anybody is in the market, call me. We can discuss strategies to help you. Also, sir, you had mentioned about the opportunities for the FFCRA program. I think that's what you were asking me about. The First Families Credit Act. Have you heard of that before?
Yes. Tell me about it.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you had an issue during COVID, COVID, everybody got something. We all were affected by the COVID pandemic, all of us. In 2020 and 2021, a lot of us were off work. 10 days, maybe our family members were sick. We had to take care of them. And the government, they put in effect something called the FFCRA, First Family COVID Repair Act. In other words, if you were off work, you missed income that you would have normally gotten. And if you miss that income, then you are going to get a credit for that. Some of us may have missed it when we filed our taxes back in 2020, when we filed back in 2021. I would definitely recommend you ask your accountant, your CPA about it. It's called the FFCRA. It's an act that can assist you in getting some tax credits that you might have missed out on. It's been said that it can be as high as up to $32,000 that you may have been able to claim. And if that was something you did not know about, well, maybe you might want to revisit those 2020s and 2021s and see if you could amend and get that particular credit that is yours. There's an organization out there that I have helped who actually specialize in helping people in that vein. They're called Matador 360. I don't normally put people's name out there, but I think they're doing some great work. And I think they can definitely help some folks. You can go to their website, Matador, MATADOR 360.com. And I'll give you some information on that too, sir, for those of you who may need some assistance. But if not, up to $32,000 could be yours. And you want to look into it. So,
all right, that's
I'm
good
excited.
information.
I'm excited. I hope that information helps, and I hope that's what you were asking. Because this is strictly business, and you got a lot of business on your mind. Today is Friday. I'm excited. I can't wait to get ready to get out here and get this world all I got.
Well, we appreciate you being here. We want to take a couple of quick commercials. As you see behind me, there is a golf situation here on the green on June 19th. We're going to be at the Brookside Country Club playing golf. And I tell everybody, if you don't play golf, this is the golf tournament you should be participating in. If you do play golf, come on out, win some trophies, win some prizes. We're going to have a great day with some celebrities out on the golf course at Brookside Country Club. You can go to our website at blackchamberofcommerce.org and you can sign up to play golf. If you're looking at being a sponsor or promoting, or if you're a vendor and you want to come out and you want to sell some items, you can also sign up for that on our website at blackchamberofcommerce.org. And coming up here, this is Black History Month. I don't want to get past that without letting people know how great it is. We've been participating in parades in Los Angeles and San Bernardino and Palm Springs Parade. Palm Springs Parade is coming up this weekend, and so is the city of Fontana. They're going to have a parade. I think there's Fontana Rialto City this Saturday. So come out to be participating in that. Also up in our High Desert Chamber in Victorville this Saturday, we're having a business expo. Mr. Terrence Stone from Young Visionaries, which is a dynamite program. If you have young people and you want to move them forward, I suggest that you take a look at Young Visionary and put your young people to participate in that. Also in the High Desert, the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce is having a business expo. We are always looking for an opportunity to give you an opportunity so that you can take your business to the next level. Tonight, Friday, 23rd, we are going to be in Beverly Hills. So go to our website at blackchamberofcommerce.org. We've got an old school concert coming up in the BH. Is that how we do it when we start putting acronyms at the BH? Come on out to the BH in Beverly Hills with the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce. We are raising funds for seniors that need help, that need to put a hand out. So if you're a senior and you're looking for something to do tonight, hey, come on out to Beverly Hills. You can go to the chamber website at blackchamberofcommerce.org and you can sign up for that. We've got a golf tournament coming up. I'm telling you, if you're looking to get out and connect the dots to take your business to the next level, be a member of the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce with 15 chapters from the desert to the sea. So when you join in Palm Springs, you belong in Long Beach. When you join in Long Beach, you belong in Culver City, Beverly Hills, Hollywood, all of the different chapters that we have to connect you to what you need to do. Our membership is $200 a year. blackchamberofcommerce.org is the site that you need to be on to be a part of what's going on. This has been Strictly Business. Thank you, Mr. Shante Moore. I mean, I've almost called you that. I know her. I'm sorry. Shante Earl. I'm gonna have Shante Moore on one day, and I'll have you come back. But this has been a wonderful morning. Thank you guys so much for being a part of Strictly Business.